Right, hello lads and lasses, and welcome back to Boys Down Under, where today, the season is officially over for Celtic, and why not, with the season being officially over, review the season and how it got on for Ange's boys this year and for our amazing football club. Before we go any further though, if you are enjoying the videos, please remember to like the video and please consider subscribing. Even if you do none of them, I still appreciate you for watching these videos. But if you do go that extra mile, I'll be even more appreciative. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, what is this video going to be? You may be asking. Well, it's going to be addressing Celtic's season in full and giving it a mark, like a school mark. So obviously, an A is your highest and your F is the lowest. And we'll be addressing the season as a whole for Celtic as a whole, not for any players individually, but rather the club's season. And let's do it in chronological order. That seems the most sensible way. And well, Ange got appointed very late on, and he's thrown into the deep end with pre-season friendly games a week later even. Limited time to recruit and prepare for our Champions League qualification against Midtjylland. Now, it was disappointing without a doubt, bowing out over two legs. But we did have a very, very successful transfer window, signing 12 new lads for the squad and letting go of a few who didn't want to stay. And those sums of the transfer fees for players who didn't want to stay did add up very, very nicely. But like I said, most importantly, we added a lot of new faces to the squad and these faces were expected to add a lot of impact and instant impact, not players for the future. But well, we also had a lot to prove because we get to the league and the opening day we go down 2-1 to Hearts. And in those first 6 games of the league, we had only won half of them. We lost the other half, and it was our worst start to the season in this century. So that was concerning to say the least. But there were some glimpses of improvement. There were glimpses of Ange ball coming to the fray. A 6-0 win at Dundee, a 6-0 win against St Mirren, a 3-0 win against Ross County. However, we did successfully qualify for the Europa League, which was a major positive as well. And the thing is, though, our squad was getting depleted. We were losing a lot of players. Kyogo was out, so too was new signing Giacomarcus. Callum McGregor was suffering with an injury. Players weren't turning up for each game. And the results were poor, 4-0 thumping from Leverkusen was absolutely devastating. A draw to Dundee United at home, and we found ourselves with a 9-point deficit in the league and without a win away from home since Valentine's Day. But then came what I think is one of the most crucial wins of the season at Pittodrie, away from home against Aberdeen. We took them on, and it looked like we were going to go another game without a away win. 1-0, 10 minutes to go, but up stepped our Portuguese Prince Jota, and Celtic had won their first time away from home in 8 months. Just before the international break, just as we had some players returning. It was a huge 3 points, but at the time, I thought it was just paper over the cracks. I thought it was, it was just a very lucky win. But from there on in, how wrong was I? The results just came flowing and flowing in, slowly closing that gap to Rangers. Some decent wins in Europe, but then roll on the hectic month of December. A month I truly believe was going to define Celtic's season because we had a League Cup final to prepare for. We also had a game every 3 days, regardless whether it was in the league or it was that League Cup final. And, cracks were showing of Celtic being really, really, sluggish and the fixture schedule catching up to them. It took a 96th minute Anthony Ralston winner at Ross County to secure all points in what was absolute pure limbs. A win in the League Cup final. It was scrappy. It was a scrappy performance, but 2 huge goals from our Japanese boy Kyogo. That saw us pick up our first piece of silverware after nothing last season, and our first piece of silverware under Ange. It was his first trophy at Celtic. It was an absolute momentous occasion, and it really, that is a major positive of the season, winning that. If we'd gone down there, I would have been so depressed. It would have been so upsetting. But we pulled through, and most importantly, Kyogo pulled through as well. But after that, the very next game, we dropped again. A 0-0 draw to St Mirren's B team saw us in an absolute shambolic performance, saw us drop more points behind Rangers in the league, back down to 6. And the winter break could not come soon enough, and so too the January transfer window. And this was a very important transfer window for Celtic. We brought in 4 key signings, and also Johnny Kenny, but, that was a very important transfer window. We also reduced our squad size by letting a lot of fringe players go out of loan, but those, specifically Dyson Maeda, Rio Atate, and Matt O'Reilly, absolutely crucial signings to Celtic's season, but players were returning from injury as well during that break, I think we had Nirbaton returning from injury, we had Giacomakis returning from injury, we had Jota returning from injury, 3 players, 2 key players and a third player who is just always Mr. Reliable. That was a very important time for Celtic to regen as well, because the fixture list had certainly caught up to our fitness levels. But then came a huge result, and one of, if not the biggest result of the season. 3-0 at Celtic Park versus the Rangers. A Rio Hatate masterclass, looking like vintage Nakamura. A result that put us top of the league for the first time in 787 days, and our first Glasgow derby win in over 2 years. And the results just kept on coming and coming and coming from everywhere. Celtic were not losing. We may have been drawing, but we were not losing. By no means were Rangers closing the gap. If anything, Celtic were extending the gap on Rangers. But there was a major negative during all that time: the Europa Conference League. We were convincingly defeated over 2 legs by Bodo Glimt, and we crashed out of Europe just like that. In a European competition where I thought, and I had really high hopes for Celtic, and I thought we could really make a dent in it. We went out just as quickly as we got into it. But what it allowed us to do was keep our pursuit and focus on the league. We won at the Tony Macaroni Stadium for the first time in over a decade. We beat Rangers at Ibrox to take our league to 6 points at the top of the table. Things were going our way. We were still undefeated domestically. But then we just had another slip-up, another shitty slip-up. We crashed out of the Scottish Cup at the hands of our crosstown rivals in extra time. Very disappointing. We really should have closed out that game beforehand, but it is what it is. We had the league to look forward to. I wasn't overly disappointed after a couple days. At the time, I was absolutely very annoyed. I think I could say I wasn't so much upset as I was annoyed that we had let that one go and had, just lost like that any ability to complete the domestic treble in Ange's first season. But we had the league to look forward to, and a 2-0 Jota masterclass against Ross County. That was a huge result in a very sluggish game from Celtic, followed by another man of the match performance by Jota during a 1-1 draw with Rangers, kept us 6 points ahead with 3 to go, pretty much concluding the league. And then a 4-1 win against Hearts, yet again further securing the league, and then a 1-1 draw at Tannadice, completing the full circle revelation under Ange Postecoglou and Calmac, and then a 6-0 home final day win against Motherwell. The celebrations were immense, and it capped off what has been an incredible season for Celtic. So, season done. So what were the major positives of this season? Well, firstly, and obviously most importantly, winning the league. Without a doubt, it was so special winning the league this year. And I have to add, the additive, the surplus of guaranteed Champions League group stage football next year makes it all that much sweeter. Ange's first season, first league win, all we expected this season as Celtic fans was to close the gap to Rangers by maybe, not let them win it, by 25 points and hope and take it to, maybe like the final match day, maybe a couple before that. We weren't expecting to win it though. And look what we just went and did. 4 points clear. Had the league wrapped up with, 5 games to go. It was absolutely amazing. It was absolutely incredible. And that is, honestly, it's not a miracle because, it was never going to be a miracle. But what it is shows the dedication from Ange and the dedication from the players to go out and to win the league. Secondly, winning the League Cup. How many months in? 5, 6 months into his tenure at Celtic, and he had already won a trophy. By the time everyone thought he would be sacked from across town, he had just won the first piece of silverware of the season. That was 2 trophies. That signals 2 trophies in Ange's first season in charge, silencing all his critics at the beginning of the season, most notably Alan Brazil, who had to publicly apologise because his comments were embarrassed that much by Ange's Celtic this season. And look, thirdly, the squad. Major rebuild was on the hands after the shambolicness of last year. We brought in 17 new players this year. Almost all have had major impacts on the team, and it will be even better if we can tie down a certain 2 loan players. However, we let go of a few players that brought us in a lot of money. Most Christopher Ayer, Odds on Edward, and Ryan Christie all brought us in a very decent sum of money. But without a doubt, recruitment this season has been absolutely spectacular, and it's a credit to Ange. It's a credit to Don Mackay for getting the transfers done at the start of the season. It's a credit to Michael Nicholson for getting the transfers done for January, and it's a credit to the Celtic board for giving Ange the funds to get these deals done. So it is a class effort from Celtic Football Club all around, and it's certainly, if the board didn't let Ange sign that many players and we didn't have Don Mackay or Michael Nicholson to help orchestrate them, we could have been looking at a very different outcome for the league this year. But what went not so well? Because some things didn't go as well. And firstly, Europe. Now, don't get me wrong. I still argue we got one of the hardest groups in the Europa League and the hardest draw out of any team in the Europa Conference League knockout. And I don't want to make excuses because, making excuses is the last thing I want to be doing on this channel. But it still was so difficult for our boys, We had so many injuries to deal with, which cost us results. Especially in the group stage, but we were poor at the end of the day. I argue we deserve to make it out of the Europa League group stages, but as for the Conference League, fair play to bhoydownunder. They absolutely humbled us and humbled our team completely. I can accept that now that we're a few months down the track, but look, also another negative, bowing out of the Scottish Cup. Slightly disappointing, not too fussed because of how seriously well the season has gone for Celtic. But it would have been nice to win the treble. And look, overall, if I had to give Celtic a school mark grade this season, Celtic Football Club, an A. Without a doubt. It is an A. No one expected anything from us, but we have restored ourselves as the best team in Scotland. And you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to have the audacity to do it. A+. It's not on the charts. An A+ thing doesn't exist. It only exists in America. I'm giving Celtic Football Club an A+ because this year has been absolutely magnificent. For me as a fan, for the club as a whole, for all of the fans out there, this season has been absolutely spectacular. And without a doubt, it's gonna live long in my mind as the season, Ange's first. Yeah, I'm waffling, but Ange's first season in charge, it is going to be one of the most memorable seasons I think for this modern day Celtic Football Club, without a doubt. This season has been spectacular. Celtic's season has been absolutely spectacular as a club. We have the accolades to show for it, and we have the best team in Scotland, without a doubt, and that's all that matters. So that is all from me. So remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, leave in the comments below what you think of Celtic's season. Give me your mini review, why not? And until next time, hail, hail.